Hello, friends, and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for being part of my life. Some of you guys are part of my WhatsApp group. Some of you guys are in my financial coaching program. Many of you guys are my tax clients. So I want to give my gratitude to you, my thanks to you for being part of my life, because without you guys, I would certainly would not be here today. Now, 2025 was a great year, right? We learned a lot. I mean, last year was full of a lot of different crises. We saw tariffs, we saw political issues, we saw interest rate issues, we saw inflation, we saw talks about Fed's independence, liquidity crisis, all kind of problems. I mean, normally we would see maybe one or two problems in a year, but last year was just filled with a lot of problems. But take a look at the resilience of US economy. Take a look at how well we did. I mean, you guys made money, right? Pretty much almost all asset classes made money except Bitcoin. And I'll talk about Bitcoin and I'll compare that with PayPal towards the end of the video, just kind of give you an idea as to how I think about these things. But most of you guys made money. So I think 2026 is going to be a great year as well. I think we're going to make a lot of money. It's not going to be free of trouble. We're certainly going to see a lot of volatility, and that's okay. But overall, I think things are going to be okay. Now, I don't like to make predictions. I don't know. I mean, for example, I saw a lot of people making all kind of predictions. For example, Tom Lee, who's a very famous personality on CNBC and many other places. He's followed by millions out there. He made all kind of predictions related to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many other trades. Did they work out? Of course not. Kathy Woods, similarly, and not just maybe picking on these people, but even many other economists had different kind of targets about how the S&P going to do, and they didn't really work out that well either. And many other people made all kind of assumptions when President Trump imposed tariffs, and people thought that economy going to be crashing and it's we just going in the wrong direction and da da da. And look at towards the end of the year, right? I mean, things are completely different. So making predictions is a bad habit. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen in future. Not important. What's important is what do you believe in? What's important is your story still holds true? And if it does, it's just a matter of time before that story will turn around. And I'll talk more about that towards the end of the video. What I want to talk about right now, though, is a few things you want to do at the beginning of the year that can really help you get the most out of 2026. Now, many of you guys who attended the Wealth Summit already received the 2026 annual planner. And I will work on 2027 annual planner a little bit earlier this year, so that way the quality of the planner can be improved a little bit. So please, if you see something that I can do to improve it, certainly reach out to me and let me know that, hey, if you do it this way, it's going to be more helpful. So please let me know. But few things in the planner that, and even if you don't have a planner, not a big deal. You can do it on an Excel sheet. You can do it on a Word, or I'm going to be coming out to Bay Area in a couple of weeks, and I'll do a meetup. So you can certainly reach out to me via meetup, or I can put up a link and mail it out to you guys if you need it. So there are multiple ways I can get the planner out to you. I do have a few extra copies. So number one thing is, what is going to have the biggest impact in your life? That's the exercise number one in the planner. And it asks you, what would create the biggest positive impact in your life? Now, that impact could be on your job, could be in your business, could be on health, finance. So it could be in any different field. So you can have multiple. That's okay. But what I really care about is what will have the biggest positive impact, the biggest. That's what my question here is. So I asked my daughter, who helped me design the planner, the same question. I'm like, you got to fill that out. And she came up to me and she says, you know what? I think the biggest positive impact on my life is going to be if I can become a yoga teacher in 2026. Now, my first thought in my head immediately, well, you're too young to be a yoga teacher. Number two, you don't have enough practice doing yoga. So how can you become a yoga teacher? But then I'm like, that's not what the question is. The question is not asking whether you can or cannot be. Question is, what will have a positive impact? And if I think about it, I think she's right on. That will have a biggest positive impact. Why? Because she will learn how to do exercises. She will learn how to do meditation. She will learn about healthy lifestyle. She will learn about different diseases and how to deal with them. She will learn about food habits. She will learn Sanskrit. She will learn about breathing exercises. But perhaps the most important one, she will learn how to pass on that knowledge to others. I think that's the very essence of our life. That's the only meaning of our life. The only reason I'm on this earth is to transfer the knowledge. Because if there was no reason for us to transfer the knowledge, then why would we exist? I mean, the very existence of a cell is only to transfer the knowledge. That's how we all evolve. That's how we became who we are. So I think that's a perfect fit for this statement, and she helped me design this planner. So I don't know if she was thinking this way, but I liked her answer very much. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea. Um, that statement that you're going to write here have nothing to do with finance. It could be some of you guys, maybe if you make an extra $100,000 or $200,000, maybe it will have the biggest positive impact on your life. For some of you guys, maybe it's about a job. Maybe if you get a better job, maybe it will have a better positive impact. For some of you guys, maybe it could be a certification or going to a grad school or doing your PhD. So I'm no one here to judge what will create a positive impact, but this is something you need to decide. For some of you guys, it could be related with medical, right? Um, maybe you or somebody else in your family needs to solve a particular medical problem and you're not able to solve it. And if you could solve it, that will have a biggest positive impact. So the main point I want to deliver to you is it's not about whether you can solve the problem or not. It's not about whether you can achieve that goal or not. Not important. The only question I'm asking you here is, what is it? What is it that will have the biggest positive impact in your life? So start with that. Start by writing that down. That is going to define how your 2026 is going to look like. Once you have written it down, the second step is that you're going to spend 90 minutes for the next 90 days thinking about that positive impact. Okay. Thinking about what kind of things you can do to get there. Just think. It could be uninterrupted 90 minutes. It could be three sessions of 30 minutes. It could be 45 minutes, 45 minutes, but hour and a half every single day for the next 90 days thinking about that. I think what you're going to notice is that within the 90 days, you are going to find yourself multiple paths to success. And then life goes on from there. I think you're smart enough to make the most out of it from there. But this one page, this one exercise actually can have a big impact on your life. So please don't ignore it. I think many people who receive the planner will most likely skip this part because they either don't understand it or they will treat it like a goal. They will treat it like something they need to accomplish, something that has a timeline and all that kind of good stuff. But this had nothing to do with that. It's just simply what is going to have a biggest impact on your life. As simple as that. Don't think beyond that. Step number one. Step number two, once you get through it, you will notice this second page, which talk about discomforts or comforts. Anytime you want to do something good in your life, right, the comforts of your life will come into play. Um, for example, we're comfortable thinking certain way. A good example would be Bitcoin. Some people who believe in Bitcoin think one way, and then people who don't believe in Bitcoin completely thinks the other way. They think the other side is completely wrong. The only problem is there's really never really a right or wrong. There's always just a thought process, the way people are comfortable. So you're comfortable thinking in certain way. So if you want to really understand the other point of view, like for example, you might say, well, Bitcoin is worthless. It should be $0. Well, then take a minute and think about why is somebody spending $80,000, $90,000 on a Bitcoin? Why are they spending that kind of money? you know and that's a more important question for you to answer than just sticking with your guns, right? Just thinking like, okay, it should be zero. Um, so similarly, we have a lot of comfort, like for example, maybe you like sleeping till 5 a.m. in the morning or 6 a.m. in the morning or whatever that time is. And if you can just get up a couple of hours early, you can improve your life. Maybe you can get yoga done, maybe you can go to gym, or maybe you can learn a new language or whatever that might be. But you're not able to do it because you're sleeping till 6 o'clock in the morning. or maybe you're staying up late watching Netflix or doing something else. Maybe you like to smoke or drink or whatever it is. Now, again, that's why I say it's not about right and wrong. Some of you guys might see it that way, but it's not. It's just simply what are you comfortable with? Because that's where you spend time. So when we get comfortable a certain way, that's the way we think. Those are our friends. That's the way we live our life. But if you want to change, we need to get out of that comfort zone. So that's the second step. You need to challenge yourself to get out of those comfort zones. Unless you can do that, you're not going to be able to create that biggest positive impact on your life. So by now, you probably understand why this planner is important, and maybe you want to share it with your kids or family members because it can help them as well. So if you get a copy, great. If you don't get a copy, don't worry about it. You can always do it on Excel or Word or something like that as well. Once you get past that comfort zone, now you're ready to work on the goals. Okay. If you can't do these first two things, there's no point of setting goals. You're not going to be able to finish them. But you're smart. I believe you. I think you can get it done. So now you go into goals. You write down maybe 2, 3 goals that you want to accomplish in 2026, and you write down certain steps you're going to take to accomplish those goals. And then, you know, throughout the year, you're going to run into some challenges, some problems while you're trying to achieve those goals. And as you run into those problems, write them down and then write down how did you fix them. Because see, what you're writing is not just a memo to yourself, but eventually you're going to pass it on to your kids. So they want to be able to see it. How did you set up the goals? What kind of problems you ran into? How did you solve them? It's a complete roadmap for them. So very important that you do that. Write down your motivations. Why did you set up the goal? Why was it so important to you? How are you going to celebrate that success? All part of that goal setting. So all of these exercises are already in the planner, but if you don't have it, don't worry. You can always do it manually. Make sure you're tracking the progress of the goals in here. So that's also important. And then another thing that very important to me is the routines. So the three aspects, right? So one, I talk about what will have the biggest positive impact on your life. That's number one. Number two is goals, and number three is routine. And each one of them is completely different. So what is the routine? Um, routine, in the simplest form, if I can help you understand it, is what kind of energy you want to create in your life. So you wake up in the morning. Right after you wake up, if you set up a routine, your energy will change. And it will change around you. It will change the people you touch, change the people who come in contact with you. It will change everything in your life. So, for example, you wake up early in the morning. Well, what are 2 or 3 things you are doing that are setting up the energy for that day? For many people, that might be just waking up and going to toilet and drinking a tea. But for some of you guys, maybe taking a minute or two to express your gratitude to God for waking up that morning. For some of you guys, that might be doing some breathing exercises, maybe 10 minutes of stretching or something like that. In Indian culture, we have a lot of prayers, a lot of poems out there. For example, one of my favorite one, you probably have heard it in various temples, is something called Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. In an English translation, it simply means very, very simple, but it's such a wonderful prayer. It says, may all be happy. And when we say all, we mean people who hate us, people who don't like us, people who wish ill for us, people who are our enemies. What are we wishing for them? We're wishing for them that they be all happy. We wish that they should not have any kind of illness. They should not have any kind of disease. We wish that they see good. We wish that they don't suffer. We wish that they never experience sorrow. We wish that they feel peaceful in their life. Okay. When you read that and you read that with a meaning, can you imagine what kind of energy you're generating? Right? I mean, you can take this prayer, for example, and just recite it 3 times: morning, afternoon, evening. I'm just giving this example. And this prayer itself generates a lot of energy. Now, obviously, if you understand the meaning, that's when the magic happens. Just reciting is okay, great, but you're not going to be able to generate that kind of energy. But once you say it uh, with the meaning and you really truly believe in that meaning, that's when the energy is created. So you got to have a routine for your mornings, for your afternoons, for your evenings, for generating energy that you can pass on to others. You probably want to have two routines, one for weekdays, one for weekends. So once you do that, I think you'll be able to utilize or get the most out of your weekdays and weekends. So those are three things you want to do. Set up what will have the biggest positive impact on your life. Number two, set up goals. Number three, set up some routines. Once you do those three things, I think you're on to a great start for 2026. Now, before I end this video, let me talk a little bit about Bitcoin and PayPal, like I promised you. And I want to use these two as an example because, you know, you buy something, because many of you guys might have purchased Bitcoin. You buy something and it goes down in price, and you go like, you know, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this is the end of the world, right? And this could apply to a lot of other stocks, could apply to a lot of other asset classes. As example, I'm just picking these two as an example, right? And for Bitcoin, you might say, well, the reason why Bitcoin was a bad choice is because it doesn't really have any value. Most likely, it's going to go to zero, right? But then I give you another example, like I promised you, is PayPal. Take a look at PayPal. PayPal fundamentals look strong. PayPal earnings looks great. PayPal is actually making more money today than it made last year and the year before and the year before. So it's making more money. I think forward PE of PayPal right now might be around 9 or 10, and take a look at the forward PE for SoFi or Robinhood or many other financial companies out there, and you'll notice that PayPal is perhaps the cheapest. And PayPal probably dropped as much as Bitcoin, if not more, right? So I'm just saying that PayPal makes more money and stock going down. Bitcoin doesn't make any money, stock going down. What's the difference? Well, the difference is just narrative. It's just timing. You know, uh, take PayPal, for example. Most likely it will recover, hopefully this year, if not next year, because, as long as the company is making money, as long as the earnings are there, fundamentals are there, it's it's going to just turn around, just a matter of time. Um, I can't promise you when, but it will one day. You just have to wait. Similarly with Bitcoin, I mean, drawdowns are normal with Bitcoin. It drops 30, 40% is like so normal for it. And then once it bounces back quickly in a matter of weeks. So, in matter of fact, I think you make most of your money in Bitcoin in 3 or 4 days of the entire year. So that's how it goes. Nobody knows what those days are, but when that happens, it's going to make a quick move, and then in just a matter of a couple of weeks, it will be up a lot. So just want to leave that thought with you, that even if you made a bad trade, doesn't really mean it's the end of the world. The only thing you want to learn is how do you do your asset allocation. For example, I don't really own Bitcoin, well, sort of, because I do have Ethereum, so it's kind of related transaction there. But my main point here is you can have Bitcoin in your portfolio, or Ethereum, or PayPal in your portfolio, as long as that's not the only thing. As long as you have a lot of other things that did great, and you have maybe one or two trades that didn't really do good, and now you can just wait for next year or year or 2 years before those trades come back to life. It's completely normal. So rather focus on learn about volatility, learn about different sectors that are bullish and how they're going to do great in 2026. That's what you really care about. So with those thoughts, I want to say thank you once again for being part of my life. If there's anything I can do to help, then certainly reach out to me. Like I said, I'm going to let you guys know in a couple of weeks when I do that meetup. If you guys need some help with your tax planning or tax filing for 2026, reach out to me. If you want to learn about finance and join the coaching program, then reach out to me for that as well. So thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.